What is up, everyone? Football is back, and so are we. Stay tuned. We've got the first episode of the 2025, not counting the draft, season coming up next here on No Buts About It. Hello, everyone. I am Josh Butts with No Buts About It. The guy to the other side of me is Chus Lentz. How you doing, Chus? I understand that the Pittsburgh Pirates made some moves. This isn't football related at all, but it just happened a few minutes ago, and you were really excited about it, right?
Yeah. Definitely very excited about it. No, I'm actually very angry. It's not football related, but one of the vices that I have between April and August while waiting for the Steelers to start back up, and right before the Penguins news starts rolling in, is the Pirates. And it's always fun to see how the Pirates do, whether they're bad or they're good. But one of the things that really intrigued me this season is the promise that could have been, and then they just kind of fell short. But we fired Derek Shelton, which was our manager, and then we got Don Kelly in there. Very exciting stuff. There's a lot of promise going on. Pirates have won the last 7 of 8. Yeah, they got swept by the White Sox, but as you can tell, as the picture pops up, Brian Hayes got traded today, which I think is a terrible move. You trade away this guy who has been a pretty big piece of the puzzle this season for next to nothing to a division rival. And the prospect we got is currently in single A, and the pitcher that we got is 34 years old on a $12 million contract that ends at the end of the season. And Brian Hayes is on a multi-year deal and hasn't even been doing that bad, to be honest. And I just don't understand what is happening and why Charrington still has a job. Charrington, if you don't know baseball, is our current idiot general manager that's been the general manager for the last 6 years that said, oh, yeah, we're rebuilding. We don't need to rebuild anymore. It's been 7 years. We have so many good pitchers. We just need a good hitter. All we need is somebody to give us just out of the park. Just get us somebody that can get us a lot of home runs. We're getting developed. We have really good pitchers. Everything's good. We don't need to trade away what isn't broken. And it's one thing if you trade away Brian Hayes for something that's all right, you know what, that makes sense. Okay, kind of a tough loss, but you're trading him for nothing. It's a pitcher that we're going to lose at the end of the season and a prospect that we might not see for another 6 years. And by then, Paul Skeens will probably be a freaking LA Dodger. I just hate it. I hate it here. I feel Homelander right now.
Why don't you?
There
okay. Now that I got your heart rate up and cooking, why don't we talk about another GM in Pittsburgh?
Let's talk about one that's a little bit different. Yeah,
made some decisions this off season. Pittsburgh was in the news quite a bit. They made some moves.
I'll
let you pick what we talk about first because you've got a few to pick from there. Let's start with your least favorite. What was your least favorite move?
My least favorite move this entire offseason? I would probably like to start with the George Pickens trade. As time has moved on, I've realized how much more I hate this move. I have talked about how the possibility of this move could be beneficial, but at the end of the day, I have not really seen any positives with it because, yes, we've got Bobby Trees, we got Robert Woods as a wide receiver too, but the problem that I've had with this move, and for anybody that's been living under a rock that hasn't seen this, we've traded George Pickens away to the Dallas Cowboys, and now we are back to square one with the wide receiver issue that I have been talking about on the show forever. And it was, we need a wide receiver too for Pickens. And the thing is we ended up getting somebody even better than Pickens, being DK Metcalf. And now you have George Pickens as a wide receiver too, and DK Metcalf. And yeah, maybe you don't keep Pickens around next year, but it at least gives you some time to figure out what you're doing. But instead, you trade away Pickens, and now you don't have a wide receiver too, which is the whole issue that we've been having for the last 4 years. And the one thing that I constantly say would probably fix this Pittsburgh Steelers offense is if we just had a second wide receiver. And I'm not saying Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson or any of these wide receivers aren't going to pan out, because I truly believe that some of them can. But I think that the problem is Calvin Austin, we kind of know what his role is. Roman Wilson could be that wide receiver too, but he was hurt all last year. And he's kind of following that same footsteps as Calvin Austin III, which is kind of an issue that I don't really like, because we may not ever see him reach that highest potential. So the problem that I have now is, instead of having two really strong wide receiver assets on the offense for Aaron Rodgers to throw to, you have DK Metcalf, and God forbid he gets hurt, you're going to have a whole slew of just another bunch of random wide receivers in Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, and they're fine, they're competent, but you need that star power, you need that flame. Like, the running backs are all right, the defense is there. You just need to buff up the offense just a tiny bit, and then this would be beautiful. But trading away Pickens and then just being like, all right, well, we're good, I just thought was the stupidest move that we could have done. And I still don't get it to this day, because there's been nobody in wide receiver, like in the wide receiver locker room that we've talked about, that could really fill that wide receiver 2 role, in my honest opinion. I think that maybe there will be an unsung hero. We've seen it time and time again with the Steelers. There could be that unsung hero that kind of pulls up randomly midway through the season in October, and we're like, oh my goodness, this wide receiver just popped off, and he undrafted free agent out of wherever, Eastern Washington, and voila, like, we have our wide receiver too. It's possible. It very well could happen. But right now, it's too big of a risk to take, especially when you have Aaron Rodgers, who's on a 1-year deal that's most likely going to retire at the end of the season. He pretty much has already said that this is it. And you have DK Metcalf on the left side, and then you got nobody really on the right side, or arguably, I guess, left or right, depends on what you're running, I guess. But you don't really have anybody on the right side. And then you have your running backs being Caleb Johnson and Jalen Warren. And then you also have Kenneth Gainwell, also kind of as like a third running back flex kind of guy that you could use. You're kind of leaning more into the tight end room with adding Smith from that trade that we'll get into with the Dolphins, with Minka and all that, and we'll move into that. And then you have Pat Fryermuth and Darnell. So they're going to probably be using more of a 2 or 3 tight end package with DK Metcalf, which could be interesting. And Aaron Rodgers could benefit from that. He has in the past with his tight ends, whatever. But the thing that concerns me is still, like, if you want to use your 2 wide receiver set, you're not going to really be able to. And that always just really concerned me. And it's still one of the trades that I still don't really like to this day, because you might as well just let Pickens stay. If you're going to run with a 1 wide receiver kind of room, then you should have just done it next year, in my opinion. You might as well just kind of let it finish out, because this might be like one of those chances where it's like boom or bust, because you're running out of time with some of these legends on the defense.
Yeah, so obviously the TJ Watt extension happened, but Aaron Rodgers,
right,
you have him for 1 year.
Yes.
And I mean, I assume you signed him because you think he can win you a Super Bowl. I don't think you sign Aaron Rodgers assuming that he's just going to be a transition quarterback, because if that's the case, why not just run with Mason Rudolph?
Right.
And, you did put out a video over the offseason talking about Aaron Rodgers and why you didn't necessarily like the move at that time. I don't know if your opinion has changed at all. There are a lot of Steelers fans that commented on that really believe Aaron Rodgers could win you guys a Super Bowl. He could be the answer to that kind of playoff victory drought.
Right.
But I have a hard time looking at your other moves. I know you got rid of Minka. You traded Minka. You brought in Jalen Ramsey, and it's like, okay, they needed a CB. That's true. But now they need a DB. Like, if you look at their draft needs or their current team needs, all you did was switch out CB and DB. So did you really improve the team? Jalen and Minka are both great players. And then you also bring out DK Metcalf. You get him, but then you get who's a big body. Obviously he can knock down guys. He can fight for the ball. He's quick. But George Pickens is young, and DK Metcalf isn't old, but George Pickens is a young guy who lit up the league in his first year. He's got that NFL pedigree. He has, I think, one of the best catch radiuses in the NFL. Now, is he the best wide receiver in the NFL? No, I think that still belongs to Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. But George Pickens is up there. He's in that conversation. He catches uncatchable balls. And to lose him and not really have a plan, I'm not sure what the Steelers are doing. Now, of course, you guys will somehow find a way to trip and stumble to 10-7 and make the playoffs and confuse the rest of the world because you'll do it in the most backwards way. But yeah, there were a lot of weird, kind of interesting moves that came out of Pittsburgh this year.
Yeah, and the thing is specifically with the Minka trade. At first, I really hated it because it's Minka, and Minka's been pretty much an asset to the defense. But over the last couple of years, he really hasn't lived up to that all-star capability that he had when we first got him. And yes, he's been a little bit on the decline and whatnot. And some of the tweets that I saw throughout the news whenever the trade happened, one of the big things is, well, maybe do you ever think that maybe he was the reason that our backfield was struggling a little bit? Maybe he was the reason for some of the communication issues. And the thing is although we're trading away, although we traded away Minka, I really think that this trade at the end of the day, after talking with a lot of people and really going through a deep discussion with it, I actually think it's actually not a bad move. We have Deshaun Elliott on strong safety, and we do have Thornhill that is coming from Cleveland. He didn't really have that good of a year, but has had that really strong couple of years when he was with the Chiefs. I believe he was with the Chiefs. But
so too.
Yeah, so he has that experience. He knows how to win. And the thing with our backfield is we don't really do a lot of like cover, like prevent type stuff. We're really pressuring the defense. And if you have Jalen Ramsey up there with Joey Porter Jr., and then you have Beanie Bishop and all of these other guys back there, I mean, your defense and your defensive backs and whatnot really aren't as bad as they're made out to be. So I honestly don't think it's that bad of a move. I think that it was kind of blown up as like what are the Steelers doing? But I honestly think that one of our biggest issues was that. And on top of that, I mean, you still have Darius Slay. And I just think there's a lot more for the Steelers to do in that area by trading Minka, because our defensive scheme doesn't really revolve around Minka as much anymore. And he's been really just kind of lackluster these last couple of years. And it's coming from a Minka fan. I mean, I love the guy. I mean, I have his Minka Miami Dolphins jersey. I have a Steelers jersey of him. I love the guy, but sometimes you just got to move on from these guys. And that's why as time moved on, I'm like, I don't think Thornhill and Deshaun Elliott and Darius Slay and Joey Porter Jr. and Jalen Ramsey, they're not bad pickups. And you have them for a year or two, you have them for a couple of years, for however long you have them. We just signed Elliott to an extension. I don't think the backfield's going to be as bad as the Steelers fans think. So I actually think it's a good move.
You mean the secondary?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Secondary. Backfield, whatever.
Do you think so looking at this team it's got, those anchors are still there. You still have Cam Hayward, you still have TJ Watt, but there's been a lot of changes with this Steelers team. And I don't know that people actually have sat down and really realized how different this team is. Najee isn't there. George isn't there. Russell isn't there. Minka isn't there. Like there's a lot of this team's going to be very different.
Right.
At a lot of key positions as well. So in your opinion, do you think that this team has gotten better, worse, or just stayed the same?
I honestly think I think on defense, we have improved. I do think we have improved on defense. Like I said, I think filling that hole to get Jalen Ramsey is very helpful, especially when you already had Thornhill and then you have Darius Slay and Joey Porter as well. It just really bumps up that position. But then we still have TJ Watt on the extension, Cam Hayward's still there, and then you've got guys that are coming up that are going to fill those roles whenever these players get hurt or eventually move on. You still have, we were talking about it before the show, you have Jack Sawyer, who could be a diamond in the rough, kind of fell down the draft, the draft value and whatnot, ended up being a late round pick in the fourth round, I believe it was.
Don't blame
And
her, yeah.
I honestly think there's going to be defensive assets that are going to surprise a lot of people like they tend to do. I mean, these Steelers picks they end up surprising us at the end of the day. So I think the defense has improved. Now the offense, I think the problem is I think Aaron Rodgers is probably our best quarterback that we've had in the last couple of years, statistically speaking. And I know we had Russ and Justin Fields last year, and Russ, I think, did really well to an extent. I know a lot of people argue that he had kind of a meltdown at the end of the year, but there was a lot of issues behind closed doors that said that he wanted to run certain plays, and they kind of vetoed him, saying, no, you can't run these plays. So he would just stick to the script, and the script ended up folding on him. So at that point, you would blame coordinator or Mike Tomlin at that point. So I don't really blame him for that. I get really upset seeing that Justin Fields didn't really get a chance here, but he's also hurt now, so that's
Well,
interesting. He's going to be nursing an injury ish, so we'll see how that plays out.
he'll play
Um,
week 1 for
he
sure.
will, but the fact that it's in the news is crazy that happened. But so is Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's been in the news for being hurt as well. But going through the quarterbacks of the last couple of years, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, despite having a not so great year last year, on paper he actually has had more touchdowns and better stats than most of our quarterbacks have had over the last 5 or 6 years. So I don't think the quarterback position is a concern, at least for this year. Next year, we'll talk about it. Whether you want to fill Will Howard, whether you're going to draft a quarterback in Pittsburgh, whoever that ends up being, whatever you may do with that. I think the wide receiver room, I think, is still lackluster. I've said it before. I think DK Metcalf is a huge upgrade from Pickens, but you're still missing that hole in wide receiver too. I think Jonnu Smith is a great tight end pickup as well in that Jalen Ramsey, Minka Fitzpatrick trade. I think that was great. I think you need to utilize Darnell Washington more. I think the problem, though, also is Pat Freiermuth is still not as great as the other two, in my opinion. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they use all the tight ends. And I think the running backs are also pretty solid. I think Caleb Johnson is a running back that not a lot of people were talking about. I think Jalen Warren is still going to have that firepower that he's had over the last couple of seasons with the role that he plays as that running back two, more than likely. And then Kenneth Gainwell is that third running back three that you can rely on in some of those different clutch moments, even as a just a third down back kind of guy. So I like the offense, and then obviously the offensive line too has been buffed up. We lost some players that I figured probably needed to be let go. And I think the offensive line is just getting younger and better, and I love it. And I honestly think this team is pretty solid. And whether people can argue with a wall, but I think our biggest missing piece is that wide receiver too. But I think if they end up utilizing the tight end packages and the running backs more, and they kind of focus more into that, I honestly think that this team is better than a 10-17. But the one concern that I always have is with older players, you really have to worry about the injuries. Because if Aaron Rodgers goes down in week 3 or week 4 on a freak injury and is done for the season, you're looking at either Mason Rudolph or Will Howard, which Mason Rudolph is, like I said, I think he's solid, especially in a Pittsburgh scheme. But then Will Howard, he's the young rookie. And then there's
Mhm.
that whole thing, because if Mason struggles and you throw in Will Howard, is he ready? Turns into that Kenny Pickett situation. Will he thrive in an Arthur Smith scheme? It just turns into a whole big question mark. But I think with the team we have on paper, and if we can limit the injuries, I really think that this team, I don't think we'll win the division, just because I think the division still has a lot of competition. But I think that this team could be a higher up wild card, meaning like a five seed, like a five, or even, yeah, probably a 5 seed, I think is
You
probably our ceiling.
you guys do have a lot of draft picks from both this year and last year that I really liked. And I
Mm,
think, like you're saying, I think you do have the potential. Like Caleb Johnson, I liked him. I liked Zach Frazier. I liked Mason McCormick. Um, you guys have got the dudes. It's just a matter
mhm.
of Roman Wilson's another one. If you just utilize them the right way, I think you could be a problem. And I think there will be added pressure on Arthur Smith this year to actually utilize the players that he has in unique situations. Because that was something he kind of, especially the tight ends, I felt like last year you didn't utilize them as much. You kind of
Yeah,
either,
he's
either,
gotta he's gotta
yeah,
lean into that this year.
you either used Freiermuth or you used Washington, and there was like very limited 12 personnel. Um, and now with Jonu Smith being in the mix, that's Arthur Smith's guy. Like Mike Tomlin can
Hmm.
say, I wanted him, like Amar Khan can say, I wanted him. And that's why we did that's Arthur Smith's guy.
Right.
And he was with Arthur Smith in Atlanta. So I think there will be pressure from Mike Tomlin, from Amar Khan, maybe from the Rooneys and they're not going to take Freiermuth off the field. You're just not if you're the Steelers. So those 12
No.
personnel packages, and I love 12 personnel. So I think that will be good for the Steelers. It'll be fun to watch for fans, even fans that don't necessarily know what they're looking at. But I think it'll be.
You're not wrong there, but yeah.
I think it's one of the more entertaining packages. Having two tight ends on the field is just, especially when one's throwing moving blocks. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it'll be very interesting to see what they do. And I like what they're putting together right now, and I'm very excited to see what it looks like when everything is all put together when we play the Jets week 1. So, I mean, preseason will give us a little insight with it, and I think that'll be very exciting. But yeah, I was more worried about the Pickens trade than the Minka trade because I feel like it's not like we have missing pieces. I mean, I don't think Thornhill is an upgrade, but I don't think he is necessarily like a huge, crazy downgrade, despite what the social media was saying or speculating. So, be interesting to see. But
we'll
why don't we talk about your team, the other
yeah. I was
across the Ohio over here? You know,
about to transition, but before we do transition, I want to make a little plug. We aren't sponsored, but I do have something I want to share. So we have merch now, for No Buts About It, official merch, and this website isn't part of a commercial class action lawsuit. That was something I wanted to stay away from. And the first time I made a merch stop, that happened. So we're going to not do that this time. This company is much better. We've got the Everybody Loves an Underdog Piper Picks sticker. So if you're a fan of that series, which we'll be bringing back, we've got hats. We've got shirts. I've got a polo upstairs. Jonathan, if you remember him, requested a coffee mug. I still have to make that. But the link is down in the bio, so make sure to check that out. I have everything priced as cheap as I can. We only make like $1 profit off most stuff, but I just want you guys to have this stuff. I think it's cool, and it helps us out, kind of pay for like software and stuff. We're not making buku dollars off of this. That's never the goal. Eventually, the goal is to start giving back to these communities that have supported us. I'm at least, I don't know what Chus's plans are, but my plans are never to have like 10 Lamborghinis or anything like that. So
yeah,
want to give
no,
back to
yeah,
the community.
I definitely want like just the millions of dollars. I deserve it
So
all.
if you can
Everything I want. No, I'm
support
kidding. I'm
us
kidding.
monetarily by even just buying a sticker, it is appreciated. That link will be down below. If not, completely understand. Times are tough for a lot of people right now. Just hit subscribe and share. That's plenty. So
Yeah, I'd
no
love to
pressure.
give back, guys. So
Yes.
definitely help us out.
But first we need to make profit to give back to people, right? We can't, you know what I'm saying? So anyway,
And it'll take time.
it'll take time, like Jimmy Eat World said. Anyway, Cincinnati, the team that has been in the news, I think, the most of any team this year. And so let's start with this guy, Shamar Stewart. Okay, we drafted him, and you could have made a reality TV show about everything that went down here. And I will say, like, I reached out to his agent and asked him, like, hey, you want, and he had put out, like, hey, I want to come and give my side of things. I was like, fine. Hey, we're a small YouTube channel. If you want to come in and talk, let's do it. He sent me his number, talked with him a little bit, and then he just kind of ghosted. And he did that with a lot of other YouTube channels. So then he went on Cincy Unfiltered yesterday, which is hosted by Drew Garrison and the Bangalorian. And
That's a good name.
Just go watch that interview. That's all. I don't want to say anything negative. If he wants to come on, if Zach Hiller wants to come on and give his piece, I'm open to it. but I don't think he'll want to after the Cincy Unfiltered interview. Personally, I think he did a disservice to Shamar Stewart, but that's all in the past, right? We're looking to the future, and Shamar Stewart is a Cincinnati Bengal now. He has signed. We have our guy. We have our first round pick, and I'm excited for him. I really am. And I know I wasn't high on him when he got drafted, and that's because his college production isn't great. But his athletic profile is off the charts. And so if we're looking at this D line, I was thinking about this last night. A lot of fans have said like this D line is not good. This is a bad defensive line. They have not gotten better. I disagree. And the reason I'm not saying like they're going to be top 10 or anything, but I do think that the Bengals defensive line has objectively gotten better. So if we look at last year, we had Sam Hubbard, who retired after this season. He was slow. Love Sam Hubbard, but he was slow. Then you had Sheldon Rankins as your starter, who hardly played because he had a bunch of illnesses and diseases and viral infections. Then you had BJ Hill, who was probably the most productive on the interior. And behind them, you had two rookies in McKinley Jackson and Chris Jenkins. And then, of course, on the left side, you had Trey Hendrickson. So we didn't have a lot going for us, right? Now this year, we have Trey Hendrickson, presumably, when that extension gets done. He showed up to camp. He's not practicing, but he's there. We got Trey Hendrickson. And then we are going to have a few guys that they signed in free agency, which I'm not saying these are like the end of the best guys out there. But you've got TJ Slayton Jr., who they signed in free agency. Taven Bryan, who they signed in free agency. TJ Slayton Jr. is a run defender. I'll give you that. I think BJ Hill is kind of better in the run game as well. But then Taven Bryan is more of a balanced player. And then, let's say right now Shamar Stewart doesn't get the starting position week 1. You have Joseph Asai, who had the second most sacks on the team. And we also have Myles Murphy, who's a former first-round pick. And I believe Joseph Asai is a former second-round pick. We don't even know what these players are. We don't know who Joseph Asai and Myles Murphy are because they never got any playing time. Lou just didn't play them. And thinking about this, Joseph Asai had the second most sacks on the team last year with 5. And he had hardly any playing time until Hubbard got hurt. So how much of this defense is still unknown? How much, are we just looking at these players? Are we going to sit back and say, oh my gosh, the Bengals have been nailing all of these draft picks this entire time, but Lou refused to put these defensive guys on the field or wasn't scheming them correctly? I'm not saying like they're going to come out and, just all of a sudden like magically be a top 5 defense, but maybe with this offense, they don't need to be top 5. They need to be above average. They need to be top 16, right? So I don't know what's going to happen. I've seen Myles Murphy have some really good practice tape. Day 1, he was pushing Burrow out of the pocket, and he would have had sacks. Obviously, they don't hit the quarterback in practice, but he would have had a sack. The secondary has locked down quite a bit. Shamar Stewart has had great tape. He's been getting his hands up. He's been getting the pressures. And yes, the sacks aren't there right now. We haven't seen those yet. But he gets pressures. And if I'm a defensive end and I get the quarterback out of the pocket on the move and he either throws away the ball or makes a bad pass that leads to the secondary getting an interception, I'm calling that a win, As long as he doesn't complete the pass and we live to move him on to another down, that's a win for me. So if Shamar Stewart can consistently get pressures and Myles Murphy can consistently get pressures, Trey Hendrickson gets sacks, I'm good with that. So I am intrigued by what this defense can put together. What are they saying in Pittsburgh about the Cincy defense, Chus?
I mean, we're not really talking about a lot of the other teams right now, to be honest. I mean, I think we're kind of memeing on the Cleveland Browns, more or less. I think that's been the
Okay.
big story. I haven't really been following too much about what other people are saying about the other players. I know a lot of people were mostly concerned about the idea that you guys weren't going to sign like your first round draft pick, and that kind of highlighted everything for how the Bengals offseason was going, was more or less what I was seeing, rather than what to expect this season with your defense of sorts. So, I mean, from my perspective, I still think that you guys could have a good defense, but may not be using those pieces correctly just because I've always been so high on Jordan Battle. And yes, he's made mistakes in the past, but I think he has the potential to be good if used correctly. But we'll see what you guys have planned for this year. But over in Pittsburgh, I think it's mostly just, haha, Browns, 7 quarterbacks. Who are they going to pick?
I I agree. And Lou never had a top defense other than that year they went to the Super Bowl, which was kind
Right.
of I just kind of I don't hate Lou. I'm not trying to hate on Lou or scare Colts fans, but I have a hard time believing that even if the Bengals were just awful at drafting, terrible, just and we know that they have a small scouting department. We know all that. You're telling me every single high defensive pick they made was a miss? You're telling me Miles Murphy was a miss, Joseph Asai was a miss, Dax Hill was a miss, Jordan Battle was a miss. All these guys were misses. I have a really hard time believing that.
I agree.
Because even if you're just standing in the war room with these guys' faces on a dartboard and just throwing a dart at them and trying to figure out what's going on, you're going to hit someone, right? So I'm interested to see what Al Golden puts together. I really like Jordan Battle. I think he should have seen the field more last year, and I hope he sees the field more this year. Um, I like Dax Hill. I think he finally got moved to the right spot on the field for him instead of trying to force him to be a safety. He played more inside slot corner, and it helped him. Um, then he got hurt, but I'm excited to have him back. I like the picks that they're moving, and again, this defense doesn't need to be like history earth shattering. It would be awesome to have a defense that, only allows 13 points a game and then have an offense that averages 40 points a game. But right now
Mhm.
that's not realistic. So I'm trying to look at this realistically but also optimistically, and I'm not just like I'm not just shilling for the front office. I mean, but that Shamar Stewart holdout was the dumbest holdout ever. They ended it over a 500,000 signing bonus that he was going to get anyway. And I get like, okay, he got it. He could have got hurt between now and December, but oh, whatever. Sure, cool.
I just
He
think
wanted to
for
get on.
me,
He,
what? No, go ahead. Finish
he
your thought.
said
I
he
was
said
gonna
he
just
wanted to get on the field, and that's why he did it. Great. Okay, why didn't you do that 2 months ago? Right. So
right.
it was dumb. And the Trey Hendrickson holdout. That's the dumbest thing ever by the front office.
Well,
It's the
yeah.
opposite.
But
They
we've talked about this. Me and you have talked about that through text. I mean, it's just getting worse for you guys now with the TJ Watt extension. It's even worse now.
that these guys, that Trey Hendrickson, what type of guy he is. You know that he is going to produce for the next 2 years. Give him guarantees through the next 2 years. If he hits 32 and he falls off a cliff, okay, you don't have those guarantees in year 3 then. That's fine. But I think we know what type of player Trey Hendrickson is. You had Sam Hubbard out there with a broken leg and a fractured collarbone, and like you didn't care. And he was way less productive than Trey Hendrickson in the sack game. So I don't know
Right.
why all of a sudden we're drawing this line with Sam Hubbard or with Trey Hendrickson. Uh, but that's what they're choosing to do. And so, both sides have done stupid things this offseason. But what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the biggest thing for me this season from you guys, more or less, is I want to see what Golden does in the defense, just because I think the one thing that's been hurting you guys the most with Lou over the last like couple seasons, other than everything that you've highlighted, is you guys need to stop ending up in shootouts. Because I think what killed you guys in some of these games, like last year, for example, is you would lose these games because they were shootouts. I mean, you lost a game with us and it was like what, 44-38? Like you need to yeah, put up 38 points, but like have it be like 38 to like 28 final, or like 38 to 24. Like shrink down, like have your points be high, but have, yeah, maybe the defense is still putting up like, 25, 26 points a game, but put it enough so that you can at least have a lead. Because like you shouldn't be putting up almost 40 points a game and losing. And that happened, I think, more than once for you guys. I think,
It
didn't that
did.
happen against Baltimore too? Yeah. And it's like, and you guys have an unbelievable offense, and we talked about it. Joe Burrow should have been probably on MVP watch, but he wasn't even going to be considered because of the. In my opinion, I think a lot of it had to do with how poor the production of the defense was. So I think with Golden, I think if he can just kind of rally what you guys have together and maybe use pieces that Lou wasn't using, I honestly think that you guys are going to be in a lot better shape than a lot of people are giving you guys credit for. But that's what I'm mostly excited to see, how Golden's defensive scheme is different from Lou's, and if it will improve your win percentage. And I mean, that's pretty much a general like what I'm looking for, because I think every Bengals fan is looking for that. But that's what a Steelers fan's looking for.
I'm
So I'm just curious to see how. I mean, I have my curiosity with my team, but like I'm curious with that as a non Bengals fan. So
I'm excited. I'm excited for this coaching staff. I think Zach Taylor is on watch. I think he's got to produce, especially after kind of throwing Lou under the bus, which I think was deserved. And again, Lou, maybe not a bad coach, but his time in Cincy was up. And
mhm.
so we brought in Al Golden, who just came from a national championship with Notre Dame. I'm excited for him. Another guy I'm super excited about, who you're not going to hear a ton of talk about, Scott Peters, the offensive line coach. This dude's a dog. Like, watch his interviews. If you're a Bengals fan and you don't know who Scott Peters is, just watch him talk about the players. He's excited. He's like a jujitsu like national champion or something, and he's like, oh my god, like I love this man. you know, I would love for the Bengals to bring in another guard. Will Hernandez just got cleared to play. Our friends over at Cardinal Rule, they know about him. I bring him in, test him at guard. They did sign Lucas Patrick, but hey, what am I doing here? Lucas Patrick got injured, so like there was really no competition. And so now Cody Ford's there, and you got Cordell Volson. They drafted some guys. Like, bring in as many people as you can. They can still afford it. They can still afford it. Even if you extend Trey Hendrickson, they can still afford it. Get as many names in that guard room. Your tackles are set. Let's protect Joe Burrow. Let's have a season where Joe Burrow isn't getting sacked or running for his life every single play. I mean, he was
Right.
putting up 40 running for his life. Let's see what he can do when he like actually has a clean pocket. And something else I'd love to see them do, and I'm talking fast because I want to talk about some other things. Bring in Noah Fant, and that's a bad photo of Noah Fant, but he was released by the Seahawks and he was originally part of the Seahawks after the Russell Wilson trade. Bring in Noah Fant, because Eric All Jr. is out this season, like almost the entire season. And so if you bring him in, you then have Mike Gesicki, who is pretty much a giant wide receiver. You have Drew Sample as your blocking tight end. And Noah Fant, to me, is a nice balance. And to have Noah Fant as your tight end 3, I think is a good situation for us to have. Is he going to light up the room every time he walks in? No. But he's an additional weapon for Joe Burrow, and he's an okay blocker. And I think he's an upgrade over Tanner Hudson, who is the current
Right.
tight end 3. So that's my thoughts. And then also I just wanted to shout out, I don't really have anything to say, Taj Brooks. He's been having a great rookie camp so far. 6th round pick. His running back coach said he runs like a ball of knives, which is awesome. And with Zach Moss getting released today, I think that Taj Brooks is going to certify himself as the running back too, with Samaje Perine kind of being in there as a blocking running back. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this team. I think that there are going to be some personnel groups on the Bengals that surprise some people.
Yeah,
That's
I
my
agree.
take. That's my
Yeah, I mean,
very
like I mean, I have nothing really else to add to that. I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said before, I'm just kind of excited to see what Golden produces for you guys, just because I feel like, although, like you said, Lou had it his time. I just think that sometimes, just like with any coordinators and coaches and stuff, it's just time to move on. I don't even know if Taylor is like the reason that you guys were necessarily losing some of these games. I mean, yeah, maybe, but I think we'll get a better idea depending on what Golden does, more or less. And I think that'll be a big telling, because, like I said, if you guys are winning games, and even if the defense is just holding on enough, that can put you guys way up there. Like, yeah, you have no idea, because, like I said, I've watched this before. I've watched this tape before. 2010 Steelers had an unbelievable offense, and their defense was like, I mean, in Madden terms, like a 78 overall. So it wasn't that good. So your
I,
defense, I think, is better than a 78 overall. And all you guys need to do is put the pieces together just to hold off teams enough. Because, I mean, I don't think your defense is going to be perfect anytime soon, but I definitely think that it's in a lot better shape than it was last year. You know,
I think there's going to be a lot of people saying, "Who the heck is this guy?" when it comes to the Bengals. For example, they brought in the center from Ohio State, Seth McLaughlin. He was injured, so he went undrafted. He was great at Ohio State when he was healthy. Let's get him some center snaps. Let's get him some guard snaps. Let's get Matt Lee, who was drafted last year, round 7. Great center, loved him. Let's get him some guard snaps. Let's get him used to playing guard, so we can have this versatile offensive line that's consistently moving. I think that there's going to be a lot. I really do. I really do. And again, I'm not saying like this team is going to be like the next 85 Dolphins or 80, whichever team went undefeated. But I do think there are going to be some shockers out there. And there's going to be like a lot of fans, very devoted fans, who are like, I have never heard of this guy, and he is absolutely just killing it out here.
right?
So that's what I'm excited for the Bengals, for these guys to make names for themselves. I do want to kind of tangent here. Leatu Latu. I love Leatu Latu. Lou Anarumo is the new defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts. Lou Anarumo, if you Miles Murphy Leatu Latu, I will drive to Indianapolis and smack you.
Josh, how do you feel about this, though? To be honest, how do you feel that, as a Bengals fan, and as you know, the Colts being your second probably favorite team, I'd say, how do you feel that the coordinator that you had a lot of beef with is now the new defensive coordinator in your second favorite team?
I like I said, I think that I think that he can help the Colts defense, but if he does the same thing he did with Miles Murphy, where he leaves out these like older defensive players and just lets this first round defensive end sit on the bench, like I have nightmares about this. I love Leatu Latu as a prospect.
Leatu
Imagine,
Latu actually looks like he's going to be good.
oh my gosh, he's so cool. He's so cool. And
What do you think his aura is? What do you think the aura for Leatu Latu is?
just football guy, man. Like when he played rugby, and they were like, I forget what his first college was, but the college was like, no, dude, you broke your neck. We're not letting you play rugby again. And he was like, screw you, I'm transferring, and he went to a different school to play football. Like he likes hitting people. It's just like I love him. I think he's gonna be great. He might, bring back some memories of like Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney. Not maybe he won't be a Hall of Famer, but like I think he'll get some plays if he gets let on the field. And so I don't even know what to expect with this Colts team. Last year, I thought the Colts were going to be like secretly just like, this underdog team that no one expected. And
Well, to be fair, when we talked about this, they did have the pieces, but then AR and all of the quarterback situations, and that still kind of rolls into this season. I think it was a lot more doomed to fail than we initially thought.
I have not commented on the Colts really at all, because apparently Anthony Richardson is like way better than Daniel Jones in camp. And it's just like, okay, did we really even have a quarterback battle then? And AD Mitchell.
But
Is AD Mitchell gonna catch the ball this year? What
but the
Tyler
problem
Warren's
is,
a dog. Tyler Warren's a dog, but is someone gonna throw him the ball? Who's gonna throw Tyler Warren the ball? I don't know. Is Latu gonna play? If I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan, I am not happy. I am not a happy camper. I'm not even an Indianapolis Colts fan primarily, and I'm not happy.
and the thing that I will say is, I think with Anthony Richardson, I think it's one of those things where he might look good in camp, but Kenny Pickett looked great in camp the last 4 years.
He's already hurt again.
Yeah, but
Why
that's
do
what
we?
I mean.
Why do we keep going back to like? I get that.
So, like, it doesn't matter how good they are doing in camp. Like, throw Anthony Richardson into the Wolves week 1, and we'll see how he does. And if he ends up like just hitting a guy so hard, like Arch Manning did that one game, that he just. Do you see that play? The one time Arch Manning threw a ball so hard that it bounced off the receiver because he wasn't expecting that hard of a throw.
No, but Anthony Richardson's probably done that 10 times over.
Yeah, probably. So, like, if we end up having the same situation with that, it's no different. Then why wouldn't you just do like Daniel Jones and have him do like checkdowns like Brock Purdy?
The Colts are going to have one offensive pass play, and it's just going to be a go route to Alec Pierce. That's it. That's
Alec Pierce, fantasy football legend, can get you 0 receptions for 0 yards or 4 receptions for 189 yards and 2 touchdowns. No in between.
I always take the over on Alec Pierce because if he catches the ball, he'll catch one ball and his over under will be like 15 and a half yards, and he'll catch one ball and it'll be for like 40 yards, and you're like, golden.
Yeah. I used to love him last year in fantasy. It was one of those like sneaky ones, like in the 15-team league. Like he's like a sleeper because you throw him in and sometimes he's good, but then sometimes he's just bad. So you just like have to take a risk. You're like, oh, all my guys are on bye. I'm throwing in Alec Pierce. He's projected 6.4 points, but don't you worry because he's going to get 28.3, and sure enough, 28.5 points. So just saying, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how the Colts look.
Dude, Dylan Fairchild looks good. This offensive line is going to be fun for the Bengals. But we do have a football game tomorrow. Like I said, football's back. We do. It's I believe the Hall of Fame game. I said I was going to look it up, didn't look it up, and I'm pretty sure it's the Hall of Fame game. It is between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Detroit Lions. And our buddy Dion has been at Detroit Lions training camp. And he posted a photo yesterday or the day before. He was with my favorite, like, top draft pick of, like, other teams. Obviously, all the Bengals players are ahead, but I love this guy. Ahmed Hassanin. He is a deep draft pick. Not a lot of people probably heard of him. This old boy right here. He's got a cool story, and I'm going to try to remember it off the top of my head here. So if I get some facts wrong, I apologize. But basically, when he was young, his family moved to Egypt. Then when he was like 16, his stepbrother was like coaching football in the United States. He'd moved back to the United States, and his stepbrother was like, hey, you should come play football. And Ahmed was like, what the heck is that? And he was like, come over and find out. And he played, he moved back to the United States with his brother. Now I remember what it was. They were playing high school football, and he was playing. And then they're sitting at home, and they're watching an NFL game. And one guy who you may remember, Aaron Donald, was on TV. And Ahmed goes, this is a really big, like, these are really big high schoolers. And his brother was like, no, this is the NFL. This is pro. That's like the best guy to ever play football.
Donald.
And Ahmed was like, okay, well then I'm going to go to the NFL. With like limited high school experience, he makes it to Boise State eventually. And you know, he's an inexperienced player, but his tape is fun. He's an aggressive guy. He's another like just football guy, wants to play. He's worked hard to get where he is. And you know, even if he doesn't make it through his rookie contract, he may do on his promise. He's in the NFL, objectively. Yeah. But I think that the Lions may have a guy here. They may have gotten a steal in the draft, and he may be one of those guys who a year or two from now, we're like, how is this guy a 5th, 6th rounder? Like,
yeah. He's just a freak, dude. He's just gonna be a freak football
he's
player, and I love
he's
those kind of guys. You know.
he's fun. And that's who I'm looking at for tomorrow's game. I'm hoping he gets some snaps in because he's a backup right now. I want to see him get some snaps. I want to see what he does against the Los Angeles Chargers, probably twos. But let's see what they can get. And Trey Lance is starting for the Los Angeles Chargers. About half of the people watching this just found out that Trey Lance was on the Los Angeles Chargers, but he is starting. And I want to see if Ahmed can, track him down a few times. I think he can.
This is a big day, though, for the Los Angeles Chargers. They're really seeing what Trey Lance can bring to the team, especially in the event that Justin Herbert inevitably gets hurt.
Justin Herbert doesn't get hurt. He gets banged up in weird ways that inhibit his ability to play football. But then also he still somehow is like a top 8 quarterback in the league.
I mean, Trey Lance starting, I saw that on Twitter or X, my bad. I saw it on X and I was like, this is very interesting. I didn't know that Trey Lance was even on a team. I don't even remember the last time I remember him being on a team. He was on San Francisco and then he got moved somewhere and I can't even recall where he got moved to. And then he's a Charger. You know what? That's cool. But we know how that's gonna go. Is there who? I mean, I don't know if you would know this off the top of your head. Do you know who the quarterback 3 is in LA?
I do not. I know who the quarterback 3 is in Detroit, which isn't what you asked.
Okay, sure. Give me the quarterback rundown in Detroit. It's Goff, and then who are the other 2?
Hendon Hooker and your boy Kyle Allen.
Oh, Kyle Allen.
Oh, Taylor Heineke is the quarterback 2 in Los Angeles. I did know that. I forgot they signed him. But then
they signed him too.
And I'm gonna butcher this. DJ Galali. Yeah, that's their quarterback 4.
All right.
And I've seen that name before. I forget what school he went to, but I remember.
Yeah, I forget right now too.
So, Chus, do you have? I know you're not a Chargers or a Lions fan, but do you have any interest in this game tomorrow? What are you looking for if you're just a casual fan turning on the TV for some football?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited, obviously, just to get back into it. It is the Hall of Fame game. I did verify that for you.
Oh, thank
you.
So
you know, it is the Hall of Fame game live on Peacock. So if you have Peacock, make sure to go watch the game. I think it's just exciting to see what these depth piece players for the Detroit Lions and the Chargers are going to bring to the table. Both teams are in a good spot. I think the Chargers are on like a coming up contender, whereas the Lions are that team that should be contending for a Super Bowl this year. I mean, they're getting down to the point where it's like, all right, how many more pieces do we need for the Detroit Lions to actually make it to the big game? So they're getting there. So it's going to be exciting to see those different players for the Lions come out. I am excited to see how the Chargers work this season, just because one of their big moves that I really like. I really want to see how Hampton plays, the running back for the Chargers, just because he's going to be with Najee as well. So I'm really curious to see what they do and if they kind of throw shades of what they're going to do with the running backs in their scheme against the Lions. Maybe not with Hampton and Najee, but with like whoever their running backs 3 and 4 would be. So I'm kind of curious with that. And I also want to see how they're going to utilize, if they even end up utilizing Mike Williams, because I know Mike Williams, is he still on the team? Didn't he just get moved to the Chargers? Oh, he retired. Oh, you're right. He did just retire.
Oh, no, but about it. We have all the updated sports news, including Mike Williams' retirement 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, Mike Williams. I forgot about that. Yeah, I knew he was in the news for something, and I didn't know if it was just because he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on the come up" or whatever. But yeah, he retired. But yeah, so never mind about Mike Williams. But I think the running back situation is very, very interesting to me. I think with that Najee, Amari, and Hampton, I wonder if they're going to use like running backs 3 and 4 as like what they're going to use for the actual game day.
What? So the really interesting thing to me about the running back situation that you kind of alluded to but didn't explicitly say, I don't know that Najee is going to be the running back 1 because
I don't think he will be.
Because A, he kind of struggled in Pittsburgh. He had 1,000-yard seasons, but he was never really like the burst type of guy or even like a bulldozer type of guy. He just kind of tripped and fell towards his 1,000-yard seasons in a lot of ways.
He did it, yeah.
And like I feel like a lot of people are like Najee Harris has 1,000 yards. Okay, didn't expect that, but also something's going on with him where he shot himself in the eye with a firework or got shot with a firework, and like it's not.
That was a news article. I forgot about that.
But the fans but the team was like, he's fine. Nothing's going on. Nothing's wrong. But like from my understanding, and maybe this has changed like this week, no one has really seen him. So like, are things fine? Are we okay? Is Najee not as healthy as we originally thought? J.K. Dobbins isn't on the team anymore. So does that mean that Amarian Hampton is going to be the running back one straight out of the draft? Hassan Haskins isn't going to be your running back one. I doubt Kamani Vidal is going to be your running back one. So that leaves Amarian Hampton if
wide open.
Najee Harris isn't there. If we get to week 1, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they put out. If tomorrow we don't see Amarian Hampton, I'm going to lean towards he's the running back one. And
I think regardless if he's a running back one or not, I think he's going to see some playing time tomorrow. I think he will probably be the starting running back for the game, but he probably won't have limited snaps. And then if Najee's not there, then it'll probably go to Haskins. Who's the fourth run? Yeah, who's the fourth running back?
Kamani Vidal.
Okay, so I think Vidal and Haskins are going to I think they're going to end up being what we're going to see if Najee is healthy, like you mentioned. I don't think Najee is going to start. I mean, they're not. I mean, I think what the Chargers are doing could be very, very special because one of the things that a lot of teams are starting to do all of a sudden that you're noticing is you either have that big, beefy running back or you've got two really, really good running backs. A lot of teams are starting to do that. And one of the teams that I love looking at is the Detroit Lions with it. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs has been huge with it. Mm-hmm. And one of the things during my time when I really started getting into football, one of the best running back duos that I just loved watching, even though it was really stupid and most people forget that it even happened, New Orleans Saints, Alvin Kamara, Melvin Ingram III. That was just an unbelievable duo. Alvin Kamara would have like 180 yards and Melvin Gordon would have like 3 touchdowns. It was just awesome. It was just a great duo. Sometimes the double running back duo works. It may not get you to a Super Bowl per se, but sometimes it can get you really, really far. So I think the Chargers might be moving a little bit into that. So, but I imagine Najee should be healthy by then, unless he's like partially blind and we're not.
I don't know. And like, I'm not trying to start a rumor or anything. It's just
no.
I think it's weird to me that if he is fine, why are we not? And to my knowledge, again, send me the video. If he's been practicing, send me the video. But I haven't seen anything, and I am on the interwebs a lot watching football stuff. So I feel like I would have seen it.
Yeah, it just says Najee Harris doing better. No reason to rush anyone out there. Remains without timetable to return. Yeah, so like that injury might honestly be worse than we thought.
And a firework to the eye isn't something that you normally, even if it like hits like right here. And I'm an expert on eyes now, so
Josh is the eye guy
because this one doesn't work, but not firework related. But if you get hit like even right here on the eye, that can lead some damage just from like the flash can damage. Like the eye is very fragile, so I would think like getting hit in the face by a fire anywhere on your face would be something where you're like, yeah, this isn't something I'm just going to walk off and call a day, you know? So we'll see what happens. I hope Najee's okay. I do. But
yeah, I do too.
It's a weird situation. But I'm all out of stuff to talk about. Let's before we go, we'll go a little bit over here. who's
Yeah.
your pick for the win? Don't pick the score because preseason is weird. Like we don't even
Yeah, I
know.
was gonna say 2015 was gonna be my score, but honestly, I think I think it's gonna be the Chargers. Not because I don't think the Lions are gonna win, but I just think for like the randomization of it, I think that the Chargers are probably gonna use a little bit more starters than the Lions will. I don't know. I just think that the Chargers will just because like we said, like if Najee's not going to play, then Hampton will probably get some snaps, and then you may see since Lad's only like a year in, like you might see Lad McConkey in there, and I just think that the Chargers have a little bit more to what because whereas like Detroit, they're like, all right, we know what we're doing. Like we're not really going to be starting a lot of our big guys. So I think it'll still be close, but I think the Chargers will just win just by a little bit because I think the Chargers are still trying to kind of figure things out. And I mean, we see it with the Steelers too. The Steelers will come out against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and they'll just be like, all right, yeah. So for the first quarter, we're gonna have all of our starters play against their bums. Like, no, for no reason, just for fun. And then we're gonna win. We're gonna win 21-16 just because the first two drives for the Steelers were long bombs by Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf caught both of them and burned some cornerback five that's going to get cut at the end of the season. So, I mean, I think that's just what the Chargers are going to do. I think they're just going to flex a little bit. Now, I might be wrong. Very curious to see who scores the first touchdown of the season, just because, or the preseason, because I will never forget when Israel Abandakanda scored the first touchdown for the New York Jets to begin the 2023 NFL season. Very fun days, very fun days, very fun times. Israel Abandakanda, we'll miss him. We'll miss him.
Free
He is
agent.
now cut.
He could be the Steelers running back. He's a free agent.
We don't need a running back. What else? He would end up being in the same situation that I would hate him to be in, a fourth running back, and I don't want him as a fourth running back. We already got rid of Cordell Patterson. I mean, that's
that went well. I'm gonna go with the Lions on this pick.
okay.
I think that even if they play all their backups, I think the Lions are a deeper team. And also I think that more of their backups have starter snaps due to the amount of injuries they had last year. So I think
Right.
it helps. So I think even if you get down into the second and third string, even the third string, maybe getting even into the practice squad guys, I think you're going to have still some quality players that would have been second stringers on other teams, and you're going to
Right.
have our experience. And Trey Lance, like he used to be
He's all right.
let's not forget that he's a former third overall pick. So like
He's not bad.
we can make fun of like, oh, people don't even pay attention to him anymore. But like he used to be the guy. And he was
He may have actually still been the guy, but the problem was is we were just never going to see it.
And so in, Los Angeles, let's see what he's got. So I think it should be fun. I like the preseason games because we get to see a lot of guys who aren't seen a lot of the time, who aren't known, and it's guys fighting for their careers, and that's not like a weird like gladiator type thing. It's just the football it means a lot, even though record wise it doesn't necessarily. To these guys individually it does, and so that's why I enjoy it so much, and that's where I find like last year I fell in love with Muma Jongmeta last year during preseason, and I bought his jersey. And I hope he makes the team again this year because he's a dog. He's just so much fun, and I'm hoping that people find players on their teams that they like this year too. So Ahmed Hassanin, good luck. I hope you get your snaps with the Detroit Lions. I'm rooting for you, bud.
I accidentally joined the live stream, so if you heard something on my thing, I just wanted to check our profile because didn't you have a video about? Yeah, it's still our most popular video. Is about
Muma, my Muma video.
That's why I wanted to click that, but we're live, so it like prompted me to go to the live video. So
yes, I did. It is still our most popular video, but I appreciate everyone who has hopped in to the live stream. No one commented today. Everyone's shy. That's okay. I also appreciate everyone who watches this afterwards. And if you could like, comment, share down below, that'd be awesome. I'll do my little spiel at the end. But yeah, let's have a great season. Once again, don't forget there is merch if you like hats, shirts, stickers. Everyone likes stickers.
Right.
Um,
Right. You know
if
it.
you like
You
puppies,
know
if
it.
you don't like puppies, I don't know what to tell you. Go support. We appreciate it. We also have a goal of hitting 1,000 subs by the end of the year. And I've said this before, the more subs we have, the easier it is for us to get monetized, which then helps us put more resources into this because, and then that in turn helps you. So help us out, help us help you. So, um, but as long, Chus, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, but I'll probably be gone whenever you're doing the spiel because I gotta release some water that I've consumed. So
Okay. Goodbye. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I truly do appreciate it. So does Chus. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, let us know what you're excited for this upcoming season with your team. What you think of what we talked about today, and just help us out, help us help you, like I just said. And we do really want to give back to the communities. That's something I want to focus on. So if you help us grow, then we're able to do that. So until next time, go do something nice for someone.